If there's one major drop-off for the 2024 season, I think it's going to be at center. Cedric Van Pran is probably the best Georgia Bulldog center of all time. Everything he brought to that team, that program, that's going to be missed next year. And as we've seen, in the Rose Bowl, you got to have a center who knows what he's doing, who can snap the ball, who can call plays, who can be a leader, not only on the field but in the locker room. Cedric Van Pran, I think, is a future starting NFL center, probably sooner than later. He is a program-changing type of player. Started over 40 games. I think it was 44 games in his Georgia career. That's not going to be replaced. I'm going to talk in a second about the most irreplaceable players from Georgia's team that it's gonna be tough to replace them. Obviously, Brock Bowers is number one. You're not gonna replace Brock Bowers. As good as Oscar Delp is, and as good as I think that tight end room is gonna be, Brock Bowers is irreplaceable. The greatest college football tight end of all time. Cedric Van Pran for me is number two, and Jared Wilson is the backup. This will be his fourth season next year, but you don't really know what you have with him. I do think he's a promising center, and I think he could be an above average center in the SEC this year. He hasn't left for a reason. I think he's got better and better and better quietly, because we haven't really seen a lot of him, because he's playing behind Cedric Van Pran, who was so important, two-time national champion center. Those guys don't grow on trees, and Georgia's had some really good ones in the past. Lamont Gillard was a pretty good center for that 2017 team, but before that, David Andrews, of course, who's one of the best centers in at least New England Patriots history. Ben Jones, I believe before him. Maybe I got those two mixed up, but those are really good centers. Georgia's had a lot of good ones. Cedric Van Pran is the best, and I do think if there's one position group with the biggest drop-off, I think it's at center from Cedric Van Pran to Jared Wilson. But we'll see. The staff has high hopes for Jared Wilson. That's the position he's been working at for a long, long time. Drew Bobo, of course, Mike Bobo's son, I think is the second-string center. We'll see if anyone else gets some snaps there. Of course, Georgia wants all those guys to kind of rotate and get familiar with each other in different position groups. They want a lot of versatility along the offensive line. But after that, I think Ladd McConkey is number three as the most irreplaceable. If I can get that word out this morning, that'd be awesome. The most irreplaceable guy, number three. They've got a lot of guys at receiver. I think Dom Lovett could come in and make a similar type of impact and play like Ladd McConkey, but the guy was just different, and I don't think anyone else in that wide receiver room brings what he brought, that explosiveness and that just natural feel for the game, those instincts at receiver, that big playability, whether it's in the screen or down the field. He did it so consistently, and they're going to be good at wide receiver, so he is somewhat replaceable because he's got really good players behind him, but I still think it's going to be a drop-off from whatever Ladd McConkey brought them, wherever they used him, to the next guy, because Dom Lovett has his spot, and I think Thomas does his own thing. He's not really what Ladd McConkey does, but after that, Kamari Lassiter, the leadership he brought, the consistency that he brought at cornerback, he's gonna be tough to replace. Dalen Everett's that other cornerback that I think will take that starting job, but the other cornerback position up for grabs, the guy replacing Kamari Lassiter, boy, it's bad. It's bad for me this morning. Kamari Lassiter, the toughness he brought to the position. That dude could hit, he could cover, he was a leader. I was in the Kirby Smart press conference after the Orange Bowl. That guy is already a pro. He is already a pro on the field, off the field. That determination, that leadership, that edge that he brought, the consistent high level of play that he brought is going to be a drop-off to the next guy. So you know what? I might actually move Kamari Lassiter above Ladd McConkey. I do think what he brought to the table was special and so important to the program that whether it's Daniel Harris or Julian Humphrey, who's now coming back, or Ellis Robinson or Chris Peeler, whoever wins that starting job, I think it's going to be a decent drop-off from Kamari Lassiter to whoever wins that position. So next, Javon Bullard. I think I'd go McConkey for then Javon Bullard. Or maybe not. And you see, I'm talking myself out of it the way, I'm going down my little list here. Javon Bullard was a playmaker. He was a tough, gritty safety who loved contact. He was great in the run game, but he could also cover and make plays on the ball, as we saw. He was a turnover machine. Very good player, can blitz, can cover in the back end, play multiple safety spots. He was incredibly versatile and had that natural playmaking ability to his game. So you know what? Javon Bullard, moving high on my list. I'm not moving Ladd McConkey down. I'm moving those two guys up. And I think I'm going to put Ladd McConkey there at that 5 position. But Javon Bullard, Malachi Starks is very good at safety. But whoever wins that other safety spot, Janelle Aguero, David Daniel, I keep forgetting if Dan Jackson is coming back or not. And I think in another video I said he was coming back. Now in my mind, I think maybe he's not. Maybe he was a senior. I don't remember if he walked. I was eating a hot dog. I did not see who walked through. I was a little late that last senior day. After that, who I have? Oh, Dejan Edwards. I put him above Kendall Milton because Georgia's got some bruisers. They got some guys at running back who can really run the ball and break tackles and play with the physical style of play that Kendall Milton did. But I'm not sure they have that instant impact slasher guy, make a defender miss, versatile, can catch the ball out of the backfield. I don't think a lot of people, I don't know if they've got a guy who can do exactly what he did. He had a little more Kenny McIntosh to him where he was great in the open field, making guys miss, could occasionally run through a guy for sure, but slippery, shifty back. They've got a lot of bruisers, guys like Kendall Milton, but I think it's going to be tougher to replace Dejan Edwards and what he brought to the table at running back compared to Kendall Milton. After that, I've got Tyke Smith, another guy who made plays on the ball at the star position. A defensive back, position that does a little bit of everything, can play in the slot, can cover tight ends, can make a play on the ball, can get after the quarterback. That's a guy you can move around a little bit, who can do a little bit of corner, a little bit of safety. So it's a versatile position, and he was able to make some good plays. He wasn't as good as Malachi Starks or Kamari Lassiter or Javon Bullard this year, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to be picked in the draft where those guys will eventually be picked, but he's another guy who brought a lot of years to the table. He was a veteran. He brought a lot of experience and big game experience, really. And whoever earns that position, which could be a lot of different guys, I think in the spring, that's a position that's open for grabs. I think the staff could move so-and-so here, so-and-so there. I mean, it's really where the coaching staff is right now. But we'll see who ends up winning that job. But whoever it is, I think I'm not sure they're going to bring that. Actually, I kind of know that they're not going to bring that number of games, those big game experience that he had as well. And he made, I think he led the team in interceptions this year. So he was a good player, and I think Georgia will miss him there. But next guy up, really, at that point, there could be a lot of talented guys, whoever ends up getting an opportunity to shine there and take that role. So it's going to be a good player no matter what. After that, Marius Mims. Maybe late, but Monroe Freeling is really, really good. And Marius Mims didn't really start a whole lot of games. He played here and there early in his career, played a little bit more and more, started this year, but also dealt with some injuries. So as good as he was, and the guy was really good. He was a really, really good player. He's, I think, more replaceable than the other guys that I kind of spoke about, because Monroe Freeling is really good. That's the guy I think will take over at right tackle there. Really high hopes for him. He's got a high ceiling. He's only going to get better and better. So as good as Marius Mims was, I think Monroe Freeling will be just fine at right tackle next year. Then I have Kendall Milton. Really, really good player. Played better and better as his career went on, and as this past season went on. He's going to run through you, but they've got other guys that can run through defenders as well. So as good as he was, as much as he brought to the table, as consistent as he was down the stretch, I think Georgia will be able to replace his style of play at running back. After that, Xavier Truss, just another big lineman. I think he's replaceable. There's a lot of guys on the offensive line ready to be that next Xavier Truss, guy who could play some left tackle, play some guard. I think Dylan Fairchild, Micah Morris are going to be two outstanding guards next year, or they'll still replace. I mean, if Tate Rowledge comes back at right guard, like a lot of people think he will, it wouldn't surprise me if he came back. Then that left guard position is up for grabs. Do you move one of them to center? Right? I mean, is Jared Wilson, of course, it's all about competition at Georgia. So Jared Wilson's going to have to fight off other guys who may get an opportunity to get reps there. So it's the best 5. And if that means Micah Morris, Dylan Fairchild moving to center, it's going to be up for debate. But left tackle, Ernest Green, I think is going to be very good too. But Xavier Truss, good player who brought some experience, but replaceable. Same with Zion Logue. Same boat. Opposite line of scrimmage. A veteran, experienced guy who played a lot of ball games, was an average player who made plays here and there, stopped the run, did a lot of the dirty work, freeing things up for other guys to make plays and make tackles, but What he brought to the locker room, I think he brought a lot of respect among his teammates on the defensive line across the team. So his leadership and his veteran experience will be missed, but it will be replaced by someone else who is his size and can stop the run and be good enough to play at the University of Georgia and bring a leadership role as well as above average consistent play. So those are, I think, 10 guys I talked about. But at the end of the day, they're going to need to replace that center and have high play there at the center spot if Georgia wants to win a national title down the road. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Sign up to our free newsletter. That link is down below. You can head on over to Dawg Post and read all of the content we have on the site. Hope you enjoyed this video and hope to see you over on the website.